Welcome to our financial freedom game. Today is July 3rd, 2025. It's the day before Independence Day here in the US, but we're playing a game that's intended to give us freedom in our own lives. So the financial freedom game was something I developed quite a number of years ago to help us break through our money walls and also to ask and answer the question, how would you live if you had all the money in the world? In other words, if money weren't an object, what is your soul's calling? What would you be doing? Now, by identifying exactly what it is that we wish we were doing, we can actually take steps to get there. If we've never taken the time to do the visioning, it's going to be very difficult for us to activate our dream come true living. So this is going to take us about an hour and a half. I am going to show you the financial freedom game template that I use. But I encourage you as well to think about doing it as on a blank canvas, drawing your vision. Have a journal handy. It's going to take about an hour and a half. We are going to have a short guided meditation as well and share this with your friends. I would even encourage you, if you enjoy it, to set up an evening or a day. Try to do it in an expansive location. So I've done it at the Restormal Manor House when we go there every other year for our Brain Trust adventure. I've done it in Cocoa Beach, Florida, in Santa Monica Beach. I've done it in many different locations, but I always try to do it someplace where the location itself is going to inspire bigger thinking. Okay, so we'll get started in a moment. Make sure that you have uninterrupted space for about an hour and a half, that you have a place that you can either get really comfortable or even lie down for our guided meditation. It will be short, and that you have your journal and whatever else you need to really write things down or record it for yourself. All right, see you in just a few moments. We'll get started. Okay, so today's exercise is really intended to just help us to rediscover what it is that we really want to do and to take steps to make that our everyday life. Now, I play this game obviously at every one of our investor retreats, so that's 4 times a year. We used to do it wherever the retreat was held, oftentimes at a beach. We actually held one at the Royal Manor House the last time we went in this March. So I would encourage you again to think about replaying this game, maybe with your friends. If you need access to that financial freedom game template, just email info@nataliepace.com. We're happy to send it to you, and you can print out as many as you'd like. So the more you play it and the more you step into this idea that you could actually actuate the things that you want to do, the more likely you're going to start creating your real dream come true life. So the premise of this game is that we have 50% of our budget to survive and 50% to thrive. Now, if you can adopt a Thrive budget, then that is really the way that we're going to escape the rat race and actualize exactly what we want to be doing every day, financial freedom, right? Not just get wealthy, but the ability to be able to decide how you want to spend your time. Every cent you own and every moment you spend is always an investment. And if you're just investing and trying to keep the bills at bay or struggling to survive, that's a pretty rough life, right? So let me show you, and this is a free web app, so you can email us at info@nataliepace.com. We have sample pie chart web apps, and we also have the Thrive Budget web app. So basically, it's super easy. You put in what your gross income is, you click on submit, and you'll see that if you can limit half of your income to all of your basic needs, and that's going to include housing, transportation, medical costs, taxes, etc., then you're going to have 50% to thrive. Now, this game is all about that side of the equation. In order to thrive, you're obviously, if you haven't already, you're going to have to figure out how you are going to fix overpaying on basic needs. Now, you might say in today's world doesn't add up, and I spend a third of my income on my housing. What I'm saying to you is that if you can get creative and solve the basic needs problem, you're going to have more money to thrive, and you're going to be able to actually start activating some of these dream come true living moments that you really want to make life delicious. So when we play the game today, what you're going to see on our game sheet is that we start off with the Thrive stuff. Pay yourself first, but where do you put that money? Rich people don't put money in jars, they put them in tax protected retirement accounts. So even that is going to start saving us money. If you're investing in crypto on Coinbase or another something like that, you can shoot the moon and then give up a third in taxes. Whereas if you put it within a tax protected retirement account, it shoots the moon and you capture gains. There's no capital gains. So again, in order for us to start getting financial freedom, we have to understand all of the ways that really wealthy people are able to lower their taxes. That's going to be a huge game changer. So again, the first thing is not just pay ourselves first, but pay ourselves in tax protected retirement accounts. The second one, and I'm going to tell you why all of these different Thrive budget areas are so important as we go through the game. The second a Thrive budget is 10% is going to go to charitable giving, 10% to education, 10% for fun that you're going to do this month, 10% for fun that you're going to save up all year for, so 12 times that 10%. And then, of course, here's your basic needs down there. Now, in the course of this game, because it is a game and it's designed to vision what your life would be like if money weren't an object, I don't want you to focus on the basic needs. You get to pay bills every month. You've been doing that your entire adult life. So now give yourself the time to have some fun, to play a game. It's just a game. There's no right or wrong answers. And to see where that takes you. Let whimsy be a part of this. Let crazy ideas that fly in from outer space capture them, because that is coming from somewhere. Maybe it's coming from the divine, maybe it's coming from your own subconscious or unconscious mind and desires. All right, so again, how would we live if we had all the money in the world? And we're going to take our monthly budget and we're going to start as a millionaire. So we'll start in that second column there. We're going to invest 10% in our investing, pay ourselves first, but in tax protected retirement accounts, 10% for charity, 10% for education, 10% for short-term fun, and 10% for long-term fun that we save up all year long. So times 12%. 50% for our basic needs. All right, so if we are making $100,000 a year, we're a millionaire. That's 1.2 million each year. So put 10,000 small in that second column, first row for your pay yourself first investing portfolio. You're going to put 10,000 for charitable giving, 10,000 for education, 10,000 for short-term fun you can have this month, and then 10,000 times 12, that's our long-term fun. That's 120,000 that we can spend this year on something really fun. And then, of course, if we are making 100,000 a month and half is going for basic needs, that's 50,000. So write 50,000 in basic needs there. But that's the only thing I want in that particular square. What I really want you to do now is I want you to think about, how would I invest $10,000 this month? What would I like to donate to charity $10,000 worth this month? Education. What do I feel like I need to learn more about this month that I could spend 10,000 on? What do I really think is fun that I could do this month for $10,000? What do I think is really fun that I could do this year for $120,000? So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes just to write in and remember details, right? You can't go to an airline counter and say, I want to go on vacation. They'll say, where to? We've got to send you somewhere, right? So details really matter. Fill in the details. What exactly will you invest in? Who exactly needs your charitable giving? What exactly are you going to learn for education? And what kind of fun are you going to have? Exactly. All right, I'll see you in 4 to 5 minutes. We'll have a little group discussion off camera, and then we'll move up and make ourselves multimillionaires. So I'll see you in 4 minutes. Okay, so I love, love, love your feedback because this helps us to dig into things and to understand some of the kind of what I would call divine truths or universal truths. So I'm going to start with the charitable side because this particular person was like, hey, the things that I want to donate to, they're not charitable organizations. I'm not going to get a tax deduction for it. Is that okay? I was like, absolutely. So let me tell you, one of the coolest charitable things that actually happened very recently. I am going to encourage you guys to also go to my Instagram and follow me there. But if I can find it quickly, which I think I can because it's got such an iconic look to it. Hang on. Here we go. So this right here was Queen Diambi joined us at Restormal Manor House Retreat in March. We commissioned an art piece for her as a gift from that young man that you just saw. He gave part of his money to that guy who is living in Ghana and is going to his first year of college. So I call this the gift that rippled around the world. I'll go ahead and give you a link to this so that you can see it. That's not tax deductible, but boy, is it going to make a big difference in that young man's life, right? Also, one of the things that I did that I loved the most is one of my cousins had lived in Southern California forever. He had 6 kids, and he was going to move to Utah, and none of his kids had ever been to Disneyland. And so for Christmas, our family gave them Disneyland. We all joined them, and all the other family members paid their own way. And it was just lovely. It was one of the best things. There's no tax write-off for that. But boy, do you get back from that. Now, I will talk more about charitable giving as we move along because to me, charity is the best networking. We'll talk about why that's the case. But one thing I will say is that what we focus on has more power than just writing a lot of checks. So rather than think, oh, well, that needs money, that needs money, that person, this person, and all of this scattered thought, if we can say, I am going to commit 2, 3, 4, 5 years to this project. I'm going to donate my time, I'm going to donate my talent, and I'm going to donate my money. Not only will the power of your donation be exponentially more valuable, but what you get back, even if it is tax deductible or not, I don't get tax write-offs for all of the charity work I do for our Earth Gratitude Project, but it is given me the life of my dreams. It's what fuels me. So we'll talk more about why charity is the best networking as we go forward. But that's one thing I would say is that really focus and understand how powerful focused energy and time and talent are currency too. So it's not just all about the money. And then this person was talking about education, and we can talk about that. But I think that one thing to remember is that education is the highest correlating factor with income. So obviously, surgeons are going to make more than dishwashers. But if you learn how to educate yourself, I call it the life math that we all should have received in high school, so that the money that you're investing, whether it's in your own home or in, stock market or whatever it is going to be, if you really know how to be the boss of your money, even if somebody else is managing it, you should know what you own and why. It should be your plan. That is going to equate to greater success than if you just say, oh, I like that, boom, what happened, right? So, education is the highest correlating factor with income, but also with financial freedom. And then when we talk about fun, a few people are having problems, especially at the millionaire level, although it may become a little more problematic as we give you a raise. And we'll come back again also to our investing. Remember that with investing, we want to pay ourselves first and we want to earn money while we sleep safely. If we deposit 10% of our income into tax protected retirement accounts and it earns a 10% gain, We'll have more money than we earn in that account within 7.5 years. And our money will make more than we do within 25 years. That is the only way. That's the only ticket out of the rat race. So it's really important to do this and to start early. So, and stocks have earned 12% annualized over the last 10 years and above 10% over the last 30 years. So it's not like it's rocket science. You just have to learn how to get safe, protected, hot, and diversified. Well, we can teach you that at our financial freedom retreats. But let's go ahead and give you guys a raise. So we're going back to our financial freedom game. We're going to that third column and we're going to make you multimillionaires. So if you earn $1 million a month, that is going to be $12 million a year. Now, I'll come back and we'll put that in context for you. But for now, let's go ahead and write in what you're going to be able to invest for each of these categories. So 10% of a million is 100,000 in your investing. 100,000 for your charity, 100,000 for your education. By the way, this is this month, right? 100,000 for your short-term fund. And then of course you save up all year. So it's 1.2 million for your long-term fund. And then, of course, you're going to have to limit your basic needs to, if you're making $1 million a month, you're going to have to limit it to half of that. So 500,000 in your basic needs. Go ahead and write it there, but then ignore that category. All right. So before we start our exercise of how are we living if we're a multimillionaire, let's think about a multimillionaire. So I like to use like Jennifer Hudson when she went on American Idol, she was from a pretty poor background. And she goes on American Idol and she doesn't win, but she keeps plugging at it. And she is such a talent that that woman goes on to win an Oscar and all the Grammys that she's won as well. She probably, if she's not an EGOT, she will be, I'm sure. And, she also gets her Weight Watchers contract. Sometimes she's on The Voice. She certainly has a lot of concerts. So she's going to be making, multi-millions per year. Now, also, I want you to think about the people around her. Her business is mostly going to pay for them, but it's still important to acknowledge that we cannot become a multimillionaire on our own. Someone is helping us to do that. So Jennifer Hudson would have an agent booking her at these things. She'd have a manager. She may have somebody who's a personal trainer. She may have a personal chef. If she has children, she has nannies, right? So again, some of these may be coming out of your own budget and some of them out of the business budget, but it's just important to understand that it takes a team to be a multimillionaire. It's not just all about you. All right, so go on. You take 5 minutes. 5 minutes isn't long, right? That's like 1 minute per each of those categories. And as you're doing it, again, allow yourself to dream a little bit. Allow those crazy ideas to come in. It is a game, but it's intended to be a game that you would play almost like a 5-year-old. Be playful. All right, I'll see you in 5. Don't let anything stop you and say, get down and start doing, serious math. Don't do that. Try to be playful with it. All right, I'll see you in about 4 or 5 minutes. All right, so we were blessed this time around with someone who's played this game a lot. And, she reminded us, and this is kind of key too. So the buy my own island, that pay yourself first and try to earn a 10% annualized gain, it can be real estate. So if we own our own home, that is highly correlated with wealth, right? Homeowners, depending on which average you use, whether it's the mean or the median, it's 10 to 40 times more than renters. So that's a huge asset, right? Buying high is not a good idea. People say, oh, does real estate ever go down in value? And I'm like, boy, does it. Yes, it can go down in value. So you definitely don't want to just buy high, right? But I wanted to remind you that, especially at that level, you're going to have multiple assets. You're going to have your own home. You might have income property. You're definitely going to want to have liquidity. You don't want to be property rich and cash poor. And Mara was saying, hey, I'm going to do my slice system for it, right? So, you want an age appropriate, properly diversified plan that you rebalance once, twice, or three times a year. That's a time proven strategy. It's been working now since 1999, and it's a lot better than riding a roller coaster where, people can lose up to half of their wealth, in a very short period of time during recessions. And then it can take 5, 7, it took 15 years for dot-com stocks to come back to where they were in March of 2000. So we can't really afford to lose that kind of wealth, especially as we get closer to retirement. And again, it's easy. It's the ABCs of money we all should have received in high school. So read the book, my ABCs of Money book, sixth edition, come to a retreat, get private coaching, whatever it is that you need to start understanding how to build wealth, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in the rat race. We have already talked about how focus on charity. So we may have a huge heart. And like, for instance, over the past 2 or 3 decades, I started out involved in raising public funds for public schools when my son was in school. I moved into women's advocacy and started raising money for women's projects and helping to mentor women, when young women in Africa. And then I moved in a very serious way, into sustainability. Now, it's not that I don't care about public schools and women. It's that I know that if I do my job in sustainability, my friend Carmel will do her job for women's advocacy. And, whoever is in charge of the PTA is going to take the torch and, keep doing what we did to raise funds for public schools. So it's like you just have to understand that, and as you keep moving throughout these things, you're going to know these people who are at the top of it. And that's what I was going to tell you about charity is the best networking. Every job that has led to the career of my dreams, and I truly believe that my two jobs, sustainability and financial literacy, this is my dream come true life. There's nothing more that I want to do outside of tango dancing, and that's obviously not my career. So, it has come as a result of charitable giving. So when I was raising funds for my son's school, and I was in Santa Monica, and I wasn't the richest person there by far, the women that I was there with, I decided to be the chairman of the silent auction so that I could get executive training. And I was obviously the chairman and the boss of women. One woman, her husband would run for governor of California. Another woman, two other women were executive producers on major television shows. So this was like a trial by fire. But when they saw that I had tripled my money during the dot-com recession, they came to me and they said, our brokers and our husbands lost all our money. You have to teach us what you know. And that's how this financial literacy thing was born. Then, early in the game of the financial literacy thing, I was attending a lot of economic conferences, and there was always a speaker there talking about climate change. And then, everybody became interested in investing in clean energy. And so I decided that we really needed to make sure that we were able to delve into it, boots on the ground, so that we could disseminate the myths and the profiteers and the fraudsters from the true projects. Now, if you go back and you look at Put Your Money Where Your Heart Is, which was the first book I wrote, you'll see a Tesla Roadster in there. And we got their approval to put it in there. And that's just because I would go to the electric car and do test drives, and everything rode like a golf cart, and Tesla drove like a race car. So, that was just my commitment to it. But, where did that lead me? Well, then in 2015, when we launched the Earth Gratitude Project, I told my partners, I think I can get, at that time, he was the Prince of Wales. Now he's the King of England. I think I can get the King within maybe 5 years. And I think I can get the Dalai Lama within maybe 5 years as well. Well, we got King Charles, Prince of Wales, then in year one. We got the Dalai Lama in year two. So, but that wasn't as a result of me having a snazzy marketing campaign. It was as a result of them understanding that I had spent, 20 years researching sustainability and featuring it. And so they knew I was serious about it, right? So that's what I'm just going to say, is that charity is the best networking. And boy, is that a way for you to start hobnobbing with the exact people that you most admire in the world. And you would be surprised at how small the check is to write that you have to write to get in the boardroom of these charitable organizations, especially if you're willing to donate your time and your talent as well. So that's one of the big takeaways that I want you to have of this one. We talked about education the last time. Fun sometimes gets to be a problem on the billionaire level. I don't think it was a problem for Mayor, but what I loved about some of her responses is that you start seeing gray areas. And also, in things that she didn't know if it was going to be money, like if you buy a retreat center that you're running and you're trying to figure out how to make it profitable, that is not money while you sleep. That's a job, that's high risk, that's risk of loss. There's all these things involved in it, right? So that is not that first category of, pay yourself first in tax protected retirement accounts. And yet, what we saw with Mare is that in her fun, that's where she was investing in these higher risk, soul driven projects that may actually have to rely upon charitable donations to exist. That was going to be fun for her. And that's a very smart and astute, rather than saying, oh, it's an investment. It's, if it's got a high likelihood of not being cash flow positive, of you having to work your tail off to make it even stay alive, that is not money while you sleep earning an annualized 10% gain. Okay. So before we go and jump to the billionaire status, I like to do our guided meditation here and now. Now, because I don't want to have an unclean recording where you hear this recording has stopped. You're gonna, I may like mute myself or I may turn myself off during part of this, but that's just so that we can keep going without any breaks. And so what I'm going to encourage you to right now, I will give you a little tiny break right now, is get comfortable. Make sure that you've got your journal handy. Make sure that no one's going to interrupt you for the next, say, 20 minutes. And let's do this guided meditation that's going to help to prepare us for the billionaire level. All right, I'll give you 2 minutes just to get comfortable, dim the lights, and tell people not to bother you. Okay, so let's start with taking long, slow, deep breaths. I'm assuming you're already in a comfortable position. So take a long, slow, deep breath and make sure that the air is flowing all the way down to your sacrum, filling up your lower abdomen, your stomach area, where your lungs are, in your chest. And when you think that you have filled yourself up completely, take in another shot of air and then hold it and hold it. And then slowly release and try to imagine that it's coming up from your abdomen, your lower abdomen, your sacrum area, and just washing all the way through all of your cavities and then out. And do that again. Nice, long, slow, deep breath in all the way, and make sure it's even going down to all the cells in your legs and your feet, your toes, your fingers, that it's getting through to your arms, and then take that extra shot in your chest and then hold it. Send it up to your head, all the way to all the cells, holding it, and then release. Again, releasing from the bottom all the way through and up and out. Okay, now, as we continue this long, slow, deep, and deliberate breathing, I want you to picture a pyramid and then flip it upside down so that you have the point at the top of the sacrum of your head, and you've got that part, the foundation above it, and then kick off the foundation so you now have a funnel going right into your crown chakra. And I want you to breathe in the wisdom of the stars. Breathe in divine wisdom. Breathe in the wisdom of your God. So take it in long, slow, deep, deliberate, into, down to your toes, through your legs, all the cells, lower abdomen, stomach, lungs, chest, and that extra shot of air. It's still going through your arms, it's going up to your head, it's very active, and hold it. And then release. And as we release long, slow throughout all of our body, we're actually releasing all the stress of mortal living, all the silly thoughts we have as humans. Release it all and breathe in the divine, exhale the mortal. Breathe in the divine, the wisdom of the stars, the wisdom of the galaxies, whatever created this beautiful, magnificent world we live in, which we did not create, but we inherited. And exhale all the mortal, the smaller animal thoughts that we can get swirling in. So go ahead and do that exercise with the long, slow, deep, deliberate breath, inhaling divine, exhaling mortal, exhaling flotsam, jetsam, exhaling stress, exhaling silliness. Keep doing that now on your own. And as you continue with this long, slow, deep breathing, go ahead and start. Keep your eyes closed, but activate the senses. So, what do you see with your eyes closed? What do you smell? What can you touch? What can you taste? What can you hear? And just be very, very conscious of all five senses. And now I want you to notice a pathway and start walking on that pathway. And you're going to see a house in the distance. So go ahead and go closer. And again, what are you seeing, hearing, smelling, touching? And, really take a good long look at the house. And then go ahead and open the door and step inside. Who's there to greet you? What do you smell cooking in the kitchen? Go ahead and taste it. And then walk around. Walk into all of the rooms that are in your house. Just take a few moments to take that tour. And look out the back door, and what do you see? Do you live on a farm? Do you see the ocean? Is it, in a city somewhere? What is it that you see? And you're going to hear the doorbell ring, so go ahead and answer it. and your board of advisors have shown up for a meeting. They have a message for you. So I like to have an advisory board member for every area of my life that I would like to get better at. So, if it's getting better at business or investing, it could be somebody living like Warren Buffett. If it's like peacemaker, it could be Jesus. It could be somebody that, we've known in history. It could be a fictional character. I sometimes use fictional characters for my humor bone. So go ahead and just focus on what is it that I would really like to gain greater mastery of in my life? Is it my family, my ability to communicate and to share with my family? Is it my love relationship? Is it my work in the world? Is it being a peacemaker? Thinking bigger, whatever it is, having more fun, having a better sense of humor, and invite each one of these members into your board meeting and give them a glass of champagne or a coconut if you prefer to toast with coconut water. Thank them for being there. And now each one of them has a message for you. And it might be one word, it's a very short, but really powerful message. So go up to each one of your board members and say, okay, thank you for being here. I'm ready to receive your message. What is it? And do that with each one of your personal board members. And I'm going to give you a few moments just to do that. Okay, so start wiggling your fingers on your toes. And I want you to grab your journal or whatever way of recording information you wish to use. Could be talking into your phone or voice memo on your phone, whatever you want. And take the next 4 to 5 minutes to document the house you saw, the messages you received, and what was important to you. I'll see you in 4 to 5 minutes. Okay, so most of us have not ever, we always think, oh, if I were rich, my life would be so great. But most of us have never tried to invest or spend like a billionaire. So this process can be enlightening and challenging for a lot of people, but hopefully that small guided meditation is helping you to think a little bigger. So let's go ahead and jump in. If we, hold on, let me there we go. All right. So if we're making 100 million a month, that's 1.2 billion. We are a billionaire. 10 million in our investing portfolio. 10 million charity, 10 million education, 10 million short-term fund, 120 million long-term fund, and every month we have $50 million on basic needs. So do you think that billionaires spend half of their income on basic needs? The answer is absolutely not. A lot of people would say yes, because they pay very high taxes, right? But the truth is, no, they don't, because the highest tax rate is for earned income. And most billionaires are earning their wealth through passive income. You might see a lot of times where the CEO will say, hey, I only pay myself $1, right? So their earned income is almost nothing, but they're getting, sometimes even billions, like Elon Musk, of dollars in stock options every year. So that's what you want to start thinking about is how can I how can I stop making everybody else rich? Because billionaires do that, right? They are paying way less to the taxman on a percentage basis of their wealth. They're paying way less on basic needs. So we can start learning these strategies and using them to our advantage as well. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I did say already, tax protected retirement accounts, not jars, right? Rich people don't put their money in jars where their hand can reach in and grab it out, but also, um, as I think I already mentioned about Bitcoin, let's say you do invest in Bitcoin, it shoots the moon. If it's in a tax protected account, then you don't pay capital gains taxes when you do your rebalancing and capture gains. If it's in a regular brokerage account that is not tax protected, then you're going to pay capital gains on it. And that's one of the ways that you can stop making the tax man rich, is to learn how to invest properly in tax protected vehicles. So, before we start spending all of our money, let's think about what it's like to be a billionaire. So, if you are a billionaire, you have lots of employees, thousands of employees, maybe even tens of thousands of employees. Um, if your business doesn't compete and it, for some reason, has to declare bankruptcy, now, a lot of big corporations, they can go through what's called a debt restructuring bankruptcy where they continue operating. So in recessions, a lot of times we see airlines that have to do that. We see auto manufacturers that have to do that. And, after we saw Chrysler and General Motors do a restructuring type bankruptcy in the Great Recession in 2009 was when they officially did it. Right after that, we saw that Detroit, the city that they were all operating out of, had to declare bankruptcy. So if our business isn't thriving, the city won't thrive. The people who work for us are really suffering as well. So that's one thing to think about. Okay, so how do I keep my business competing? How do I keep my business at the top of the game? How do I keep my business, uplifting the entire city? Right? That's something that we've got to keep in our minds. We don't just spend, spend, spend. So I want you to think about that. Also, you can't live in like this fortress and then drive through a wasteland. Like that won't last. People will boycott you. You see how mad people have gotten at Elon Musk when he started doing the Doge thing, right? And his sales are down at Tesla. Other, vehicle makers actually had a boom in sales this last quarter, and sales are down at Tesla. So, you do need to make sure that you know how to inspire and uplift the people, especially who are going to work for you, but in your city or in your hometowns. So, as you're spending, I just want you to keep that larger vision in mind. How am I going to pay myself first and earn money while I sleep, right? So, keep that wealth and increase it. Charitable giving can be a way of keeping wealth and stop making the tax man rich too, if you have your own foundation, which many billionaires do. Education. And this is another way to think about education. If I own Microsoft, right, I need computer scientists to work for me. So I better make sure that the education system is powerful and strong, close to where my headquarters are, close to where people are going to be working for me. And that's probably one of the reasons why Silicon Valley is so strong because it's got UC Berkeley and it's got Stanford there, right? In the US, we have to import computer scientists. We don't actually, have them graduating from our universities, our natives, enough. That's probably the easiest way to get into the US. Short-term fun may take on a different color at that level, right? And definitely long-term fun, right? So if you're going ahead and it's 10, 120 million, what is it that you're going to be spending on? Again, you can put in there what your basic need expenditures are, 50 million a month, but that's all I want you to do is put the number in there. So again, if you find it hard to think at this level, then break the walls. Don't be, stuck in this rote way of thinking because you can't see over the wall. Like break through that wall, whether it requires giving a crayon to the 5-year-old in you and telling her to color outside the lines, or saying, I can do this. Whatever it is, I am, I have, I can figure this out. I can think this way. Just do it. And we'll see you in about 4 minutes to see how you have activated billionaire thinking for yourself. Things. So again, a lot of things start bleeding into one another when you get on the billionaire level. So, charity becomes your foundation, which is a tax protection strategy. So you stop making everybody else rich, but it's also focused on your soul's calling, right? So, if you're Bill Gates, then it might be, helping people in foreign countries not die of, curable diseases like diarrhea. If you are J. Paul Getty, it would end up being Getty Center and art. And again, this is a way to actually pay less in taxes, preserve the wealth for families. Like Warren Buffett, every one of his children has their own foundation, and then he is able to donate Berkshire Hathaway stock to them. So there are lots of different ways. I mean, if you think about, when I'm looking at this is a manor house that's been around in the same family since 1700, and up on the hill right behind it, right over there, that is a castle that was built in the 1300s that still belongs to the same family. So England is a very high taxable nation. So how do they do this? How do they keep the wealth in the family for all these generations? And the truth is that they start that process early in small amounts under the gift tax level. So again, the more that we understand how to stop making the tax man rich, how to stop making this rich, how to focus in, being charitable is part of the package. That's the only way that you're going to keep your wealth in terms of not paying too much in taxes, but also that the community cares about you, right? So they don't want to take your wealth away from you because if you're being so charitable to them, they're happy that you're part of the community. So I'm just, and the last thing that I'm going to say is that everything that we can think about on the grand scale, we can start taking steps to get there now. So I pulled up one picture that I want to show you, and I'm going to use this as an example. So hang on, let me go ahead and share the screen. Oh, that's us playing on the beach. That's us playing on the beach in Florida, where we found some launch crews for some of the satellites that go up there at Cape Canaveral. This is Melanie Newkirk with Bill Gates. And what she did on the billionaire level is she said, for my education, I want to learn investing from Warren Buffett. Now, in reality, if she were a billionaire, she could do that, right? She could go and she'd probably be, sitting at a table with him at some charitable event and say, hey, let's have lunch tomorrow, right? So that's a possibility. But it's not a possibility in her life. So she wants to start actualizing it. What she's going to have to do is get creative. So I said, well, you could buy shares of Berkshire Hathaway stock and then go to Omaha for their annual shareholder meeting because he likes to talk. He likes to share his wisdom there. And so within 2 years of she won the billionaire, she won a seat at my retreat in Santa Monica at a raffle. And then she played the billionaire game on the beach. And within 2 years, she was at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting in Omaha, and she met Bill Gates and sent me this picture. So, what I want you to do now is I want you to start thinking about an action that you can take right now that will start you on the path. So, if you know what it is that you would really most like to do to help people in the world today, then think about what you could do right now with time, talent, or money to commit to that, right? If you think that, okay, I've done bad investing in the past, but I want to do better in the future. Okay, so what are you going to do to activate that? Are you going to read my book? Are you going to register for a retreat? In terms of fun, what kind of fun do you want to have right now, right here, right? And again, maybe you don't have as much as you would when you're a billionaire, but you have some fun and you should do a version of whatever it is that you would like to do, right? So if what you want to do is start learning how to speak Spanish and cooking better, then maybe you need to at least commit to making a dinner where you watch some famous Spanish chef cook it and put Duolingo Spanish on your phone. Whatever it is that you want to do, I just want to see an action commitment to it. So each category, what are you going to invest in now? How are you going to improve your investing game? Charity, what do you want to be investing in for charity? Time and talent count as well. Sometimes they're even more valuable than your money. What about education? How are you going to get smarter? What are you going to be focusing on for your education now? And if it is that you wanted to educate others on myofascial, can you which we talked about. Can you go and do that now for any type of group for your target market? Can you just donate your time? Maybe it's charity and education, right? The gray areas everything gets a little grayer. What are you going to do this month for fun? And what are you going to save up all year for fun? So go ahead and take 4 to 5 minutes to write down an actual commitment that you are willing to make to do this week. Again, if you're going to plan a trip to Guatemala and rent a house, maybe that's going to take longer. And maybe what you're going to say is, okay, this week I'm going to set up the account and I'm going to start depositing in it so that by this time next year, I'm ready to book it. I'm also going to look into the possibility of maybe even a house trade so that I don't even have to pay for housing, that sort of thing. So let's get really specific on what our commitment is going to be. And I'll see you in about 5 minutes. All right, so now that you have your commitments, what I would say you might see in the chat area that I wrote my commitments down for you. And the reason for that is that when we say something out loud, we're more likely to feel like we have to do it, right? Than if we just commit to ourselves. It just carries weight. That's why we get married in front of our friends and our family, because it really seals the bond. So I am going to encourage you to go ahead and share some of your commitments in the chat area. And no one's going to be calling you and calling you out on this, but it's more for you, for the psychological thing for you. Like I can do this. I'm going to commit to it. I can say this out loud. And I want to thank you again for joining me today in the financial freedom game. And I do encourage you, this is free. We're happy to share that financial game template with you. Email info@nataliepace.com. And yeah, we really want you to be actuating your dream come true living. We want all of us to be doing our soul's calling, and that is going to make for a very enlightened planet when we do. And it starts obviously with ourselves and then with our family and then with our community. And, it really ripples out from there. It can be very powerful if 8 billion people are making their highest good choice, not just for themselves, but also, for their community or for their planet. So, thank you again for joining me. If you're interested in our financial freedom retreats, the next one is October, but if you want the best price, you do need to register by July 31st. And, this is going to be the life math. It's going to change your life. Absolutely. By learning this, it's easy stuff. I wish that it were taught in high school and college. I have to teach people with PhDs and all sorts of things, MBAs, PhD in math. We just don't learn life math. And hopefully, I will get it in the curriculum of some universities soon. But for now, this is your best shot. And again, always you can reach out to us at info@nataliepace.com. And I do hope you'll also join me on social media because I do daily money tips there. There's no cost to that. Increasing your vocabulary around all of this. I showed you Instagram. I'm there as Natalie Pace, Natalie Win Pace. But the easiest way to access this is just go and click on. Here's all the various social media right at nataliepace.com. If you want my blog, you can easily access it in the menu there and just click on blog and go from there. If you're interested in our Earth Gratitude Project, it's earthgratitude.org. And you can also follow us on social media. We've got social media links there as well. Okay. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for joining me and keep us posted on all of your successes because we love hearing about it. I'm going to stop the recording there, but I'm going to keep the chat area open just in case you want to share. All right. Thanks again.